Hello, everyone. This is Kendrick Dix here, and you know what that time is. It's the Pro Wrestling Show. Well, things a little bit different, so we're gonna try and experiment with a new pro wrestling show. So if things go great and accordingly as planned, we can maybe do a pro wrestling show dedicated to Raw Ring Report, as we're gonna do tonight. The Raw Ring Report. We'll do SmackDown this weekend, and we'll do AEW and NXT. So we'll kind of like we'll break it different installments. So you'll have a pro wrestling show at least 3 times a week. So we're trying to get to the spirit of things. But first things first, join the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And thank you all for watching Connect TV. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. You won't miss a thing. You won't miss a thing. And I'm telling you, you won't miss a thing. All right, everyone knows who I am. I'm Kendra Dix. So we're doing this live interactive edition of the Pro Wrestling Show, the Monday Night Raw Ring Report. So Raw was indeed that. I mean, like as you see right here, AJ Styles becoming the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. We'll get to that a little bit later on what had happened and how AJ got to this point and how AJ was trying to help the Miz and cash in his briefcase, but that kind of went and epic fail once again. All right, so let's get started with the Raw Ring Report. So, let's see. It was a moment of bliss. Randy Orton appeared on the moment of bliss once again to, you know, call out Alexa Bliss and the Fiend. And he did so when Alexa Bliss was continuing on playing mind games with Orton, asking Orton about him, and then Randy Orton turned the tables on her and asked her how she feels about the Fiend. And then the lights dimmed out. The Fiend appeared. Fiend appeared, and he wanted his what you call property back in a way. He wanted his friend Alexa Bliss back. Randy Orton playing serious mind games, and I don't even know who's playing who in this matter. Is it Randy Orton or is it the Fiend? It just gets weirder and weirder. Even Alexa Bliss and the Fiend looking kind of confused on what's going on. I think when you look at it, Randy Orton is that he is a psychopath. He's been a psychopath for almost almost his career. When you go from a fresh face Randy Orton to the Viper to the Legend Killer, Randy Orton has been playing in all these roles in WWE. But I don't know if he's getting inside the head of the Fiend. And that's what I'm thinking he's trying to do. He's trying to get in the head of the Fiend because he believes the Fiend probably is soft because he thinks the Fiend has a soft spot for Alexa Bliss. And Alexa Bliss is the center of this whole feud. And we don't even know how this feud gonna apply going forward between Randy Orton and the Fiend. I don't even know if this if she gonna be on TLC or they're gonna do a match on TLC. Only time will tell. Also, a Sympathy of Destruction match between Jeff Hardy versus Elias versus in some kind of wage war. Like they've been battling each other since this past summer. Now, many of you can recall when Jeff Hardy was on episode of SmackDown. Jeff Hardy was, when you can tell, inebriated, and he thought he ran over Elias, and Elias took it too personal, took serious, and thought Elias was doing this to him, and Elias put the blame on when the draft came, and they continued the feud. So they had a decent match. You see right here, curse of WWE.com. Elias trying to strike an offense on Jeff Hardy, even trying to bring in the piano. And R-Truth was inside the piano, which I didn't even get that. It was funny. It was entertaining. I can say that. Speaking, and then Elias, the coup de grace was Elias got electrocuted and he got shocked for a minute. I didn't even know Elias had got shocked through it. And then Jeff Hardy took advantage and used a big cello, a violin or something. He used the violin on Elias. left Elias out and hit the Swanton bomb, almost hit his head, and Jeff Hardy hit his head on the. I didn't even know Jeff Hardy was thinking about that. Jeff Hardy won the match with the Swanton bomb through the table, almost hit his head on the stairs. So Jeff Hardy, thank God he made it through, because it could have been a little bit worse than that. Telling you right now. Ooh. Also, Ricochet went against the member of Retribution, Slapjack. Slapjack went against Ricochet. Ricochet still on a crusade to end Retribution. He doesn't get it why, his former friends, Cedric Alexander and Ali, went different paths. But, when you go different paths, you go different lanes. Ali, kind of like the brains of Retribution. He's smiling right there. I guess he has a devilish look on his face on what he's about to do. And you see right here, Ricochet trying to hit the coup de grace out of nowhere and try to use a 450 splash. But then out of nowhere, Dana Brooke approaches Ali and tries to slap him. And Ali didn't like that. Dana Brooke demanded she wanted a match against Reckoning, because what Reckoning done to her cost her being in Survivor Series. So she wanted a piece of Reckoning. And she thought the only way to get through Reckoning is to get through Ali. And then Ricochet tried to go for the attack on got his name, big dude. I'll say that, big dude. And then Slapjack beats up Ricochet and get the win. And Mustafa Ali and Crump Company and Retribution tries to talk smack to Ricochet. Ricochet still doesn't get it. I don't know what's going on with that. It's just, yeah, it's just like, Retribution has that momentum, but it's like, what I'm saying? It's like so many super groups on Raw. It's just like everybody trying to allocate for time, and really the time is already spent. It's like how many heels on Raw there is faces. But we'll see on that. Also, the Celtic Warrior Sheamus appeared on Miz TV. Sheamus appeared on Miz TV this week. Sheamus, I don't even wonder why they don't even call it the dirt sheet. Look, I guess it's just Miz and sidekick Morrison. God, Morrison went from equal to Miz. Now he's just a sidekick. Man, the way WWE treats him. But Sheamus was the guest on Miz TV. So Miz started asking the hard questions, asking tough questions on why are you trying to be nice to Drew? You know you want a title match. It eats you alive that you ain't been champion for nearly 5 years. You know you want a title match. Why are you acting like that? Sheamus was trying to act cool and calm and collective. And I don't know why Sheamus didn't bring up to Miz like, is history repeating itself with you, because you trying to win the world title that you never won in 10 years. So you had to use your same tactics that you did 10 years ago to do what you got to do. And it upset and infuriated Miz, and Miz got infuriated Sheamus. Sheamus got infuriated. Morrison tried to jump in, and it was like a double team on Sheamus. Sheamus got attacked with the briefcase by Miz and Morrison, and I guess we will find out later on. It was a tag team match where WWE champion Drew McIntyre teamed up with Sheamus, his friend Sheamus, to go against Miz and Morrison. We have been having problems with in late, at least. Also, the women's tag team champions, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, were defeated by Asuka and Lana. Asuka and Lana teamed up. I think this is the women's tag team champions beating up Lana once again, because Nia Jax put her through the tape about 9 times, and Nia Jax didn't like that. Asuka trying to help out as she can, the Raw Women's Champion, trying to help as much she can. She using the kick. She, like last week, Lana was saved Oscar from getting put to a table. I think Oscar should have done the same thing with Lana. I think that would have been more credible if you look at it. If Oscar would have helped Lana not be put in the table, it would have made more sense. And they need Oscar to feud with somebody, and they ain't putting the titles on Oscar. I think either it's going to be a which I'll tell you later on here. But Lana snuck in and got the win over Shayna Baszler. She pinched Shayna Baszler. So you guys believe Lana and Asuka are in contention for a women's tag team championship match, whenever that might be. So it could be a TLC. We could be a tables match for the women's tag team titles. Or put up the ante. Champion versus title for title. Asuka, with one of the women's tag team champions pin Asuka, they be women's champion. But Asuka pinned them, they lose their women's tag team title. So it makes credible sense when you think about it. Title for title. Asuka's women's title for the women's tag team titles of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. That makes sense. I can see that right there. Title for title. They don't do that right now. I don't know what to say. Also, the Xavier Woods with Kofi Kingston New Day versus Cedric Alexander with the Hurt Business MVP and Shelton Benjamin. Well, the New Day came out there to talk about last week's controversial finish, and all of a sudden the Hurt Business came out there wanting to rectify that situation once again, and saying that if they get a one of the guys gets some pin, they get another tag team title opportunity. But Xavier Woods stepped up to go against Cedric Alexander once again. Cedric Alexander putting up the finishing touches with the lower lumbar check on Xavier Woods, and probably earn a future tag team championship match down the road. So down the road, you're gonna see, could the Hurt Business once again get those tag team titles that they've been longing for the longest? We had to wait and see how this all gonna play out down the road. So we'll see. I think the Hurt Business, they should get it. New Day being threatened and the Street Profits being threatened, so they need somebody to threaten them with the tag team titles. So in New Day, they can always win it back if they want to. So it ain't that. Speaking of that, a triple threat match, a sudden death triple threat match, where the winner becomes the number one contender and meet Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. It was between Matt Riddle, AJ Styles, and Keith Lee. Now these three men know a thing or two are going to compete for the championship. I think Keith Lee competed for the championship. This is Riddle's first go around. AJ Styles been around the block. Well, you see right here, Riddle with those martial arts kicks, them MIA kicks. And Riddle was trying to take it to Keith Lee, trying to take it to AJ Styles. And he did with these flying aerial maneuvers. Riddle even was, before the match, Riddle was even trying to riddle me this, riddle me that, trying to get in the head of his opponents. But Riddle kind of made it seem that way. Riddle with a gut-wrench suplex on AJ Styles and the Keith Lee. Keith Lee caught Riddle. Keith Lee and Riddle are former NXT teammates. Riddle tried to get the upper advantage, but Riddle lost to AJ Styles, and AJ Styles wins the match and earns himself a shot at the WWE Championship at TLC. It was the obvious choice when you think about it. AJ Styles has been, been around and knows what he's doing. So it was obvious. It was obvious. It was bound to happen. It was just when it was going to take place. Just that. So look for that happen. AJ Styles, and we'll tell you later on what AJ Styles did during the main event in that tag team match between McIntyre, Sheamus, and Miz and Morris. We'll tell you that later. Also, Dana Brooke trying to get her on comeuppance. Dana Brooke went against Reckoning. She went against Reckoning at the payback. She wanted her revenge or payback over what what Reckoning did to her. She was supposed to be in the Women's Survivor Series team for Raw. Reckoning cost her the match. Dana Brooke, Reckoning, and then after that, Reckoning revealed herself as Mia Yim, but she still was Reckoning in many people's eyesight with those series of clotheslines where you see right there, and even a abdominal stretch, not abdominal stretch, but damn, I forgot what they call that move, but it's effective. It's a stretch hole, I know that. And then you see right here, Dana Brooke rolls her up, 1, 2, 3, and you tell them look on Mustafa Ali's face. You know, told you earlier that Mustafa Ali, this whole thing got started when Dana Brooke slapped the taste out of Mustafa Ali's mouth and trying to entice it, trying to get a match. And she did so, and she did with a roll up, which that was so phenomenal of Dana Brooke getting a win. Dana Brooke getting the win that she wanted to get. Um, it ain't over between these two ladies. I tell you that right now. It's not over. It's not over in a long shot between them two. So look for them two to continue their feud on Raw next week. Probably. Also, and finally, the tag team match where Drew McIntyre and Sheamus went against AJ Styles, not AJ Styles, but the Miz and John Morrison. So Sheamus started up with the offense on John Morrison, and you see AJ Styles in commentary along with his bodyguard, you know, trying to survey the action. And you see right here Drew belly on Miz, leaving the Miz out in land. AJ Styles tried to stick his nose into the tag team match business and tried to give Drew the phenomenal forearm, and he did. AJ then tried to convince Miz and Morrison, it was they was double teaming Drew, and then AJ convinced Miz to cash in his briefcase on Drew. Miz hit the skull crushing finale on Drew, the WWE champion. All of a sudden, Drew McIntyre woke up his senses and delivered the Claymore kick to the Miz, left the Miz out laying, and I think it was a no count out. But I still believe McIntyre and Sheamus won. But it's not far from over between these two men, as you see right here. AJ Styles and his bodyguard getting escorted out. So, like I said, it's you can tell it's not far from over. And then it's not. It's just not. It's just like you can tell right here, Drew looking like confident as usual, even sending the message. So at WWE TLC, you will see the match. It'll be AJ Styles versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. We don't even know what kind of gimmick match it might be. It might be a TLC match or a ladders match. So it might be one of those two gimmick matches. But if I'm a bad man, I don't know. Because I can see it's probably a ladders match. Because or chairs match. One of the two. One of the two. Because I think the TLC match might go to Roman and Kevin Owens. Because you can't have two TLC matches. So I think it's got to be a gimmick match. So look for that. So Drew McIntyre making a point that he's the top dog on Raw and he's gonna stay the top dog on Raw as the WWE champion. He did so in a heck of a performance over Randy Orton 2 weeks ago to gain the championship. And you see Randy Orton trying to focus his attention on the Fiend and stuff and see how that's gonna fire and play out. Well, like I said, that's going to end the Raw Ring Report on this Monday Night Raw edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. So we're experimenting. We're trying to see if this works. We will continue it on, and it'll be 3 different installments. We'll have 3 pro wrestling shows 3 times a week. We'll try that. So for me watching Monday Night Raw and give you the review and give you the highlights. I've been your host, Kendrick Dix, saying so long, and we'll see you this Wednesday for the AEW NXT Ring Reports. We'll see you then. See you.